This podcast contains paid advertisements, but more on that later. Welcome to the O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast, where I discuss how you can grow your business by the bootstraps. This applies to everyone with an entrepreneurial spirit. That includes bootstrappers just starting out, established business owners, and business leaders. My goal is to help you grow both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Isaiah O'Connor. Okay, first, before we jump into today's advertiser, a little announcement. Today I'm introducing my new remastered series, which will be hopefully going live as of this Tuesday. I will be putting out this series every Tuesday and every Thursday until I run out of material to remaster. And what I am doing is I'm going all the way back to Season 1, Episode 1, and taking that audio and remastering it, editing it, fixing it up now that I know how to use this program better, and re-uploading it as the same title but as the remastered series, cleaning up some of the links and whatever, just making it nicer, easier to hear, improving the audio so you can actually hear. I've had complaints about audio quality, people not being able to hear, etc. Now, this does two things. One, it provides a way to have remastered podcast. I was thinking about having this as a special thing for my buymeacoffee.com/bootstrap group, membership group. However, I cannot upload Audible content to that site, so therefore I could not do that, and thus I'm just going to do it as a remastered series. What this does for you is if you listened before and were frustrated with an episode because you couldn't quite understand it or hear it correctly, you'll be able to re-listen to it. And if you haven't heard them all before and you want to go back and kind of see what else I've been talking about, some of the topics I've hit, and I do sometimes reference, you can go back and listen to a high quality version of it and you'll be able to catch you up. Now, I am planning to do this again on every Tuesday and Thursday, and that will be interspaced with my regular scheduled podcast of every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And this way, you will now have a full week's worth of O'Connor Bootstrap podcast every week for the near future, for the next probably several months, if not the next year and a half or so. I do have a lot of content that needs to be remastered and fixed and put up, and I won't be doing that. And who knows, maybe if people like the 5-day a week with my content and I see the numbers improve because of it, then maybe I'll continue on after the remastered project and add in something else as I go. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So that's the introduction of the new remastered series. I do hope you enjoyed the remastered series, as I will have fun playing around and fixing things. Anyway, let's go into this. And today's episode is sponsored, of course, by Audible, audible.com. And again, Audible is a great place to go get audio books, audio information about business, about life, and even just fun books to listen to. I like to listen to novels. Lord of the Rings is amazing on Audible. It's really nice. I am a nerd after all. But today, the main book I am recommending is directly tied to today's podcast, which is one I've recommended several times before. And that is the book EntreLeadership by Dave Ramsey. Now, if you're a small business owner, if you're a big business owner, if you're a manager or a leader, I highly recommend this book. It is amazing. It will help you improve your business. It will help you improve your management skills, the way you interact with your subordinates, etc. It's an amazing book. Go check it out, EntreLeadership. And of course, get it free with your free trial over at amazon.com/bootstrap with a capital B. You type that in, or you click the link in the description below, and you'll be able to go there. You can pick out EntreLeadership. You can get your free trial, do a $14.95 month free trial, because with that one you get to download and keep at least one book forever, and that way you can get entree leadership and keep it forever. Even if you don't continue the trial, you keep the book forever, which is amazing. However, you'll probably keep the trial because it's an amazing service. 1 credit a month, that you get 1 book a month, which is amazing. You keep forever, references. If the book comes, if you do like one of the great courses, that wasn't redundant at all. You can download the PDF information file that comes with the course notes. It's amazing. It's not just audio. You can get the actual PDF files that go with certain books and translations. It's really cool. It's an amazing service. But you can go over there, get Entree Leadership by Dave Ramsey. You can keep it forever. Go back and have it for reference for free by going to www.audible.com/bootstrap with a capital B and get your Entree Leadership book. Anyway, so speaking of Entree Leadership, I've been talking about hiring and the hiring process, why you should hire, who you should hire, all this good stuff. And today, finally, I'm going to talk about actually hiring somebody. Now, my personal approach to hiring for my company is what I personally call the 2 Dave approach. Yeah, it sounds kind of silly. Well, it's a combination of Dave Ramsey, who wrote the book Entree Leadership, and a guy named David Mahoney, who runs a company called Balloons Every Day out in Texas, who has been kind of a mentor to me and kind of taken me under his wing, and a really great guy, really is supportive, I call him kind of the cheerleader of the balloon world, really helpful, really encourages people to keep pushing on, great guy, and really good businessman. He's a balloon guy who's also good at business and actually has one of the larger balloon companies that I know of. He has like 15, 16 employees, last I checked, a fleet of vans, and even through this virus, he's picked up his business and it's going strong again as things have started opening. Great guy. And part of his just being a great guy is he gave his hiring process to another balloon artist who wrote a blog, and I used his hiring process in combination with Dave Ramsey's process to hire my first employee, and the result was really amazing. Now, to start off with, where to look for, where's the best place to look for new hires? Well, the best place to look for new hires is referrals. People tell you, oh, this guy wants to work for you, this guy I can recommend, oh, you're looking for a guy that can do this, I know this guy who's a great guy that does this, etc. Not that every referral is going to be a great referral, not that you can always, you're going to have to learn who the person is, not just from word of mouth. It could be their brother who just is a little biased, of course. But I know personally that if I know somebody and I go and refer them for a job, I will not refer a person for a job if I don't think they're good enough. I know people that if they ask me for a job referral, I would decline very politely, but I could not, in good conscience, refer certain people for certain jobs. I think most people are like that. Most people don't want to give a bad referral. Matter of fact, Dave Ramsey gives out, I think it's like $20 or $50 or something like that, to every person that gets referred, who makes a referral, and if that referral gets the job and then makes it past his 90-day probationary period, they then pay out through the referral. So it kind of incentivizes good referrals. Of course, I couldn't really do that when I was starting because I had no other employees. I had just my lonesome self and no referrals. So, of course, the next thing you do is post job ads on job boards. I would also, if you can, post ads in your local community. If you go to a church or if you have other community groups you're a part of, sports groups, etc., people that you know, teams, make it clear that you are now hiring amongst your peer group. that's also a great place to get some people, because at least you'll have some people kind of know and kind of on the same wavelength to begin with. And then you have to post an ad. Now, Dave Ramsey says put enough information into the ad so that they can select themselves out. And I agree with that. When I was hiring, I got some crazy responses for my job ad. I had a person send a message on Facebook when I was hiring, because you can put job ads out on Facebook now, apparently. But I was hiring, and they sent a message, and they just said this: I need a job. That was it. Nothing else. Not a reference, no school, no application, no information about them. All I knew about them was their name because of Facebook and that they needed a job. I refrained. I said, I'm sorry, but you don't fit our position, and politely declined. But I was very tempted to reply with, if you need a job, you don't apparently need it that badly. Because if that's all you say in a job application, that you need a job, not that badly you need one, if that's all you're saying. Just saying. So the more public where you post your jobs, the more likely you're going to get a lot of applicants and a lot of people that are just throwing stuff around. And if you're living in a place in the West, like America or even Norway, you're going to get a lot of applicants from out of the country looking to work for you as a way to get in. I was surprised how many people I got applying from other countries, basically looking for a work visa to come in to work for me, which is not really completely surprising, but still, you have to be careful, and you got to filter through these and find them. Now, there are different job boards, job services, employment services, and those are nice. Some of those take a chunk, though. Some places you can place ads are expensive. Here in Norway, we have two main big, as it were, job boards. There's individual, small hiring agencies, job agencies around that you can put ads in, but there's two main big ones that everyone uses, which is the local, they call it NAV, N-A-V, and that's kind of the social services department here in Norway. They handle unemployment claims, corona relief claims, disability claims, etc. And because they handle unemployment, they also post jobs and help people get jobs. They have their whole job process. You can put a resume on there. They can help you get hired. And if you're an employer, you can post a job there. Now, to post a job on nav.com or nav.no, sorry, you just send them your job information and they post it, and that's it, and it's free. The other big one is this site called fin.no, and this website is kind of like a Craigslist type of a place where they post jobs. You can sell stuff, you can buy stuff, you can find apartments, you can get airline deals, you can do pretty much buy and sell everything on this site. And they also have job listings. And I was going to put my job listing up on fin.no to find out it cost 10,000 kroner, 10,000 kroner a month, 10,000 crowns, in translate to English, a month to place a job ad there. Obviously, big companies can have that type of money. That was more than I made in a month in my company, so there was no way I was going to pay 10,000 crowns to place an ad for an on-call employee that I only needed occasionally. That was insane. And to put that into perspective, that's about $1,000 a month to place a job ad. So you got to be careful. Now, if you have a big budget for hiring and you want to put it into one of these higher end places, then great. Just be forewarned, some of these places do charge you a pretty penny to place a job ad. Now, I do believe that 10,000 crowns a month did include unlimited job postings during that month time, as many you wanted, so there was that as well. But for only one small position for one on-call employee, it wasn't really worth the time. Now, when you put the ad together, obviously, like I said, you're going to get a lot of people coming in, lots and lots of emails and replies to the job ad, and you're going to want to be able to have people self-select themselves out from the job. And the best way to do that is give as much of a detail of the job description as possible. What you're looking for, what your company stands for, what the work hours are like, every little detail that you can think of and not have it empty. Looking for jobs, I've had job ads that said, we need a server. That's it. No more information about the location, the type of restaurant, the restaurant address, almost no other information in there. And one of these ads I looked into, and it was actually, the restaurant didn't actually exist, and I had to call them and report the ad as fraudulent because I looked at this ad and said, send your application and information here, and we drove by the address there, and it was non-existent. So you want to make sure that people don't think you're just a fraud by just throwing up with just a little bit of information. You got to get a lot of good information. And the more information you put up, the better it is for you in the long term, because people will self-select out. And also, if you want a serious person is going to read through the entire job ad and really think about if they want the job or not. A non-serious person may not even read through that much of an ad and skip to the next one because they're too lazy to read through your ad. And if you're too lazy to read through my ad, I don't want you to work for me. I'm sorry, just how it is. If you can't read through my ad, you can't work for me. Simple as that. Now, speaking of ads, using a combination of the Dave Ramsey and the David Mahoney, I created my own job ad. And I'm going to read you the ad I placed. It says, Balong Event Bureau is a full-service balloon decor and entertainment company. We're looking for an on-call production team member to help with inflation and installation of balloon decor. As a team member, you are required to help us with large builds by inflating and tying hundreds of balloons. You will also be required to do some builds alone, as well as make deliveries. There is also the opportunity to learn balloon twisting. We are looking for production staff that have a strong work ethic, are dependable, work well with others, and have high attention to detail. High energy and physically fit to lift bases and tanks of approximately 16 kilos to 32 kilos. Positive attitude and pleasant personality are best for this work environment. Dependable and responsible, can work with a minimal amount of supervision after being trained. You also need to be service-minded and be good around children. On-call team members will have the opportunity to advance to full-time employment as we grow. You must have a current driver's license and be legal to work in Norway. Must speak good English and fluent Norwegian. It is preferred that you have your own vehicle. What we offer: good pay, opportunity for advancement, positive work atmosphere, and training. This is a great opportunity to start out with us at an entry-level position and grow and advance in the company as we grow. Our office is located just outside of Kristiansand, Norway. Work will start at the office and the jobs will be done around Kristiansand area and as far out as Grimstad and Konsmo. Transportation costs from the office will be covered. We're a company that is 100% focused on using balloons to help set the mood for any event. We do this by creating balloon art that fits the mood of the event, from hearts and flowers for a wedding, a pacifier for a baby shower, or even a full-size reindeer for Christmas. We also provide balloon entertainment in the form of balloon twisting and balloon clowning. You can see some pictures here at my website. Please understand that you will be inflating a lot of balloons. Please no one with bad backs or fear of heights. If you want an exciting job that is challenging, always different, creative, fun, and if you smile a lot, please email us your CV and application. So there's my job ad. As you see, it's decently wordy. It's as detailed as I can make it. And reading through it again out loud, I realize I need to run it through a grammar check again and a spell check. Catch little details I messed up on that, but it worked. I got a lot of applications from that, and of course, I got a couple really great applications coming in. I had to go through and decide who I wanted. Now, with Dave Ramsey, I'm just going to go through real quick Dave Ramsey's total 12-step approach. And Dave Ramsey is a Christian, as well as myself, so that does line up with me. But his first step is to pray. Now, if you're not a religious person, then of course you can skip this first step. But if you are a religious person and you believe in God, then of course you want God to help you find the right guy. So again, first step, if you're a religious person, I do highly recommend prayer. If you're not a religious person, that's completely fine. You can stop and think about what you're looking for in a person. 2, Dave Ramsey makes sure he has the key results area, or KRA, set up, i.e., what the role the person's going to fit. And if you notice, I made sure that was very, very clear in my job application of this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to be doing, this is what I'm needing, this is what we're going to do. And of course, once you come on board and in the interview process, I detail that even more so. They can send in your resume in Norway here. They send a CV, which is basically just like an American resume. It's nowhere near as detailed as an American CV. But same thing. You get the CV, you get the resume. It gives you kind of an idea who the person is, but it's not the most important thing. But it gives you some idea. And you can filter out some of the guys who you're running a balloon company and they're talking about how they love math and accounting, and their CV shows up that they've only worked accounting jobs and they're never worked with the public. That might be a good indicator. Or all their jobs are outdoors and you're hiring them for being indoors and sitting at a desk, staring at a computer screen all day long. That could be a problem. Matter of fact, that exact thing happened to Dave Ramsey in that book, EntreLeadership, which I mentioned. They hired a guy in the call center, and within I think half a day, he ran off the job, said, I can't handle this, and just took off and never came back because he was a lawn care guy who had done all his work outside, had always worked outside, and never worked inside a day in his life. So being cramped behind a desk, staring at a computer screen, answering phone calls all day was not a good fit for this guy. So yeah, you can kind of filter out like that. Now, Dave Ramsey uses a personality test, the DISC personality test. I personally do like the DISC personality test. I have used it before. Personally, I've taken it. If you're a small bootstrapping company, you probably don't want to do this because they can be expensive. Again, if you have the money to, personality test gives you a decent understanding of where they fit. Now, I'll go into this some other time, but with a personality test, it doesn't tell you everything you need to know about them. It's not always going to be 100% accurate, although sometimes it can be fairly decently accurate, but it can give you an idea of how well they fit. And little side story, I had 2 different guys working for me one time, and they were great guys. Both were hardworking guys, but their personalities could not be polar opposites. Not be more polar opposites, I should say. And with their personalities, I mean, great guys, but one guy was very, very detail oriented and could work alone, but he had to be given step-by-step instructions. The other guy was kind of more of a free spirit, less detailed oriented, and would work really hard alone, but if you gave him step-by-step instructions, he'd freeze up and panic trying to get it done perfectly right, and if he didn't do it perfectly right, he wouldn't do it, and then he would lock up and freeze and not get anything done. The other guy, if you said, oh, just do whatever you think it takes, he would freeze up not knowing what to do because he would be worried about doing it wrong. Once I figured this out, the one guy with step-by-step instructions, I say, okay, do this, 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 and this, but these here, these here, these here, these here, these here, and give him exactly what to do. I'd come back and he'd be done very, very quickly and very efficiently. The other guy, I'd say, hey, clean this section up as best you think I would like it. I'd come back and it'd be cleaned up very, very efficiently, very quickly, and the guy was very happy. Again, personality test can give you some idea of this type of fit. Do you like him personally? Yeah, this is very important. You gotta like the person. If the guy shows up and you're gonna be working with this guy or gal for a long time, in and out, day to day, you gotta like them. You gotta be able to get along with them. If they show up and they're the polar opposite of you, and they have an attitude that just rubs you the wrong way, and it's just really rough with these guys, you probably don't want to hire a guy that you don't like. That's a personal thing, and it's pretty important. Do they light up when they talk about this position? Now, there's something about this, and I've seen some critique of this 12-step process, by the way. So not everyone agrees with it. I'm just saying this is what his is. And lighting up can be faked. I admit it's something that can be faked. But what I was looking for was not just the position, but working with me, with the company, with our mission statement, with what we do, lighting up about the idea of working with me and my company more than just the position. Because a person might come in and really want to work with your company and be willing to take any position just to get a foot in the door, and they're lighting up because they really like what you do and they like your mission, they like your company, and they want to get in. That person I will hire, even if it's not specifically the position they're working in that they light up about. But if they also light up about the position and they're really excited about it, then yeah, that's good. If they don't light up about the position, they're just like, yeah, I just want a foot in the door, and they just kind of like, I'll do whatever. And I guess I'll clean the dishes. You get the idea. That might be a little extreme, but you can kind of tell if they really want the job in that position and they'll be okay in it or not. That's kind of what you're looking for. Dave Ramsey, being known for being a financial advisor, of course, asks for a personal budget review on paper, on purpose. Of course, this is Dave Ramsey, budget guy. And I personally do not do this in my hiring. I forgot to. I didn't do it. But I do ask questions that bring to the same point, which is, if you're working for me, will my ability to compensate you be enough for you to live on? So Dave Ramsey actually talks about he had a woman who came and worked for him for $13,000 a year, but actually needed $30,000 to live. That didn't work out so well. So again, when I talk about bringing value and providing value and taking care of employees and providing for other people's families, if a person wants to work with you and you can't help provide for them, and they can't provide for their family, then you probably shouldn't hire them. It's a disservice to them. So that's an important thing. Now, when I hired a guy, I hired a college student who was in college, who only needed some pocket change and some extra money here and there, which was perfect because that's the type of guy I was looking for, because I did not have the income level yet to hire a full-time or even a part-time employee where they can depend on the income. That was very key. I made that very clear up front. This is not going to pay a lot at first. I will try to get you more work as possible as we grow. But for now, you need to be in a position where you don't need me to live off of. Matter of fact, several of the people that inquired about the position were really excited, like, oh, I want to come work for you, you're hiring. And I just got the sense of they thought I was this really wealthy business owner that could hire everybody. And I just said, hey, this position's only on call and you're not going to make enough to live on. And usually not even a response or, oh, okay, thank you, sir, goodbye. That was it. Because, again, you want to only hire people that can afford to work for you. Kind of crazy that you have to have people that can afford to work for you. Very good point. You need people that don't need to. Like if you're running a restaurant and you need somebody to just wash dishes, it's a minimum wage position. You're going to, if you're a honest guy, you're going to hire a 16-year-old kid who's living at home with mom and dad to clean the dishes because you're paying a minimum wage. That's what they can afford to live on. You're probably not going to want to hire a dad who was working, making $60,000 a year with a wife and 3 children at a minimum wage job washing dishes. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure you're not doing that. Again, that's extreme, but just an idea, just to clarify. You do want to get references. You do want to call those references and check. Now, the references, if they're smart, they're going to give you people that are going to say good things about you. But if they're dumb enough to give you a reference that's going to be a bad reference on them, and you call that reference and goes, what, they list me as reference? This person's horrible. I don't know why they listed me. Then you dodged a bullet. You don't have to hire that person because you actually called the reference to find out. 10 is a spousal interview. Now, this is something I do apply, and I did apply. However, it was a single college kid, so this didn't apply with my interview. But the reason he does this is he says if the person is great, but they're married to crazy, they might not be a good employee for you because of their spouse might be driving things crazy and making things rough for them in their career. And there is something to be said for that. And I know that there's been times where I've seen people who are otherwise great people who have troubles with their home life and married life, and it can make problems for the business and distract them, even if they're a great person. Again, this last one's optional, but there is something to it where you can have a great guy or a great gal, and their husband or wife are crazy and controlling everything they do, and they might make a big effect on the way they're performed for you. And Dave Ramsey asked for mission statements. I personally do not. Not a lot of people have them, but you can kind of ask them, what is your kind of goal in life? What type? You want to dig through values, goals, views, and I do incorporate some of this into my questioning. However, I don't ask for a direct mission statement on paper because not a lot of people write one. I wrote one 25 years ago, 2022, I don't know, which is really, really old, and I really need to clean it up and have to really rethink about it. Not everyone needs a mission statement, not everyone has one, but I think the main point here is try to figure out, do their vision and goals line up with yours? Of course, very important. For example, say you're a butcher, you really don't want to probably hire a person who's a vegan member of PETA who hates meat, the eating of meat. This again, I like to give extreme examples, but give you an idea. You're not going to want to have a PETA member working for you if you're a butcher, and you're probably not going to want a butcher working for you if you're a member of PETA. You want your goals to be lined up. And one last little thought from Dave Ramsey, which is you got to choosing talent over passion. And you want, if you have, they have great talent, but that's fine. But you want them to be very passionate about what they're doing. They want to be passionate about working for you because passion's going to overcome talent every single day. I worked with a guy and had a guy who was actually under me. I was an assistant manager. He was under me. And he had a real talent for sales, but he was not passionate about it. He wasn't passionate about the job. It was just another job. And while he had a passion for sales because he made him money, he also was not very much of a team player. He was really talented in sales, but he wasn't a team player. He didn't get along with everyone else. He was insubordinate to me, his assistant manager. all this stuff. So he was a great salesman, but a horrible employee outside of his sales town. So that's Dave Ramsey. Now, David Mahoney, his was a lot shorter because, again, he's a balloon guy. He's not a business guy. He teaches business, writes books on business, or anything like that. And he basically had his basic email reply and then some questions he used, and I mixed and matched questions, interview questions. But I liked what he did. His was a little bit shorter process, but it started with this. He had a 3-part interview, and he would send this email out to everyone who applied, and I'm going to just read that to you. It says, "Thank you so much for responding to our job post. We have a 3-part interview process to help us find the best people to strengthen our fantastic team. The first part is this email. Below are a few questions. Please answer them and send the email back. From there, we will pick individuals that we feel might be a good fit and invite them to a first interview. This will be a short interview to see how well you fit our company. After that, all final candidates will have an interview with my wife and I, as well as your wife's domestic partner. Please do not worry about giving us the perfect answers to the questions. Like I said, we are just trying to get a better feel for those that applied for the position and figure out who we think is the best to join our team. Here's the questions. Number 1, how was your last employer as a place to work? Number 2, what did you like most about your previous job? Number 3, what did you like least about your previous job? 4, what are some of the professional compliments you are the most happy with? 5, what would you say are your natural strengths? 6, what do other people often compliment you for? 7, what do you feel people may criticize you for? 8, what do you consider to be the areas where you need to develop additional professional knowledge and skills? 9, what are the things that usually upset you at work? 10, how would you describe your work habits and working style? 11, how would you describe your personality to someone who doesn't know you? 12, how do you judge your success? And lastly, 13, what kind of job would you fit best in long term? I look forward to hearing back to you, Isaiah O'Connor. And again, this is another elimination step. Dave Ramsey also runs a 30-minute drive-by interview or something like that, just a short interview, just to get a feel for the person. I kind of substituted that interview for this because, again, it eliminates. A lot of people would reply and not bother in answering the questions or just say, oh, great, when's the interview? And ignore them. Or they start answering questions and you're reading through the questions and you can pick up right away with some of these questions like, what did you think about what did you like about your last employer? And they say nothing, then that's a red flag for you. Just, again, it gives you a way to go through and screen out bad people before they get to you. So finally, the final interview, my wife was too busy, was not up to interviewing, but it was a single young guy, so I wasn't too stressed about it. Now, when it came time for the interview went well, and actually, I was just looking at the time, this has turned into a very long podcast so far, and at this point in time, I'm going to call this part 1. Part 2, I'm going to go into interviewing techniques, the interview questions I had, what you're looking for, not just the questions, but do they answer the questions? Yes, but body language, overall personality, if they're on time, how they're dressed, all these other stuff about how to give a good job interview. I will tackle on the next podcast because this is going a long term, and I think it's a good spot to stop. The process of how to develop your job ad to the point of getting the person through the basic pre-filter, as it were, and into the interview process. Now, I'll just have to say this about the interview process. Dave Ramsey does a different one than me. His process is about 2 to 3 months long. He has multiple interviews, a drive-by short interview followed by an interview with the department manager, interview with you step up the interviews, a longer interview, more detailed interviews, culminating with an interview with that person and their spouse at a restaurant, informal, which is something I might add into the next hire. So, just saying, the interview process can be a long-term process. This whole process is a very long process to be done well. You do it well and you reduce turnover, you reduce it down to tiny amounts because everyone you do eventually hire really, really wants to work there and is a really good fit. And that's what you're looking for. Again, the interview, well, I looked at the time and I'm already sitting at a 30 minutes plus without the ads and everything else. So, yeah, it's time to wrap up. I'll wrap up with this. When it comes to the hiring process, do your research. Do come up with your own plan, of course, but these are just some good basic guidelines of take your time. Make sure you're very detailed, very thorough. Do everything you can to filter out the people so that by the time you get down to the actual interview process, you're down to the last few that really, really fit. And so you save your time and you can help find the best people possible. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you. Next episode is the interview process. After the interview process, we'll talk about compensation. You have a great day. Goodbye. If you found value in this content, please leave a comment and give us a 5-star rating on whichever podcast platform you use. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, and most other podcast platforms. If you would like to support us, you can check out our sponsor links, or if you'd like to support us directly, you can donate or join our membership program at buymeacoffee.com/bootstrap. Of course, it really helps when you share these podcasts with your friends as well. If you'd like to interact with me and other bootstrappers and leaders, you can join us over at our O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast Facebook group. You have been listening to the O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast, an Atheoz Business Solutions podcast. For a companion podcast, the Atheoz Business Podcast, which is hosted by Jason St. Clair, past episodes and related blogs, please check out our website at www.atheoz.com, which is at www.atheoz.com or theoz.com. Until next time, I have been your friendly neighborhood entrepreneur, Isaiah O'Connor.